Hello, everyone. Greetings. Welcome here to my YouTube channel, Tending Earth. Today, we have a very exciting interview with my dear friend Erica. Hi, Erica.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And let me tell everybody about you. Erica Hoxie is a seasoned tax professional and an accountant with over a decade of experience helping individuals and small businesses gain financial clarity and confidence. Since launching Financial Business Solutions in 2014, she has combined her expertise in tax preparation, bookkeeping, and financial analysis to deliver solutions to go beyond compliance, creating strategies that save time and support long term growth. Erica's passion thrives on empowering solopreneurs and small business owners to reach their greatest potential and focus on what they do best. And the topic of the interview today is just simple, the business of doing business. So, welcome, Erica. How are you?
I'm good. I actually like that title.
Yeah, right?
We
It's
we
like
talked
just
about it.
simple.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's just so the audience can get to know a little bit about you. Just give us a little bit of your story of becoming this business owner that you are.
Okay. Well, so like you said, I started out at CSUN. And actually my major was real estate finance. So I just knew that I was going to get into acquisitions and real estate. And then I graduated right when the bubble burst. So I did a little pivot and I started working as a staff accountant. And then that turned into like 10 years of becoming an accountant. And so when I was in LA, I couldn't find a job. And I was like, man, I can't find a job. And I was like crying to my mom. And anyway, it led me up here for an internship. It was like for a nonprofit. And so you know how nonprofits, they don't really pay that much. So I was like, oh, I have to pay this Bay Area rent. So I ended up going on Craigslist and looking at an ad saying like, oh, do you want extra money? Join Jackson Hewitt. And so I ended up doing it. And then I actually liked it a lot more than I did. So I stayed there even after the internship. And I was like, I can really see myself here. It's like better than doing accounting work. So anyway, I in my mind I thought I was gonna be at that firm for like a really long time. And then um the guy started getting a little shady with like how he was paying us. And then I was like, all right, I've got to find something else, but I still like doing this. And then my mom was like, why don't you do it? Like, you're the one doing 100% of the work anyway. I'm like, I don't know. And she was like, Erica, you deal with numbers, parents, they kind of give you that push. So I just, that's when I met you and I met other people. And then actually me and another coworker, we were like, okay, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna share a space together. So we shared a space just to kind of like help out with the office rent. And then this a friend of mine was like, oh man, I owe so much money. And I was like, let me take a look. I think I can like help you. And he was like my first client outside of my taxes and my mom's. And he was like, if you give me money, I'm gonna tell everybody about you. And then so I ended up giving him a lot back. And so he turned around and told 30 people, 30 people. So I was like, wow, okay, I guess this is it. And I never looked back. I never looked back. I love what I do. I'm one of those rare people that like really, you know, I like talking about taxes. So
Yeah, I love that. I love I love that story. And I know I met you like we were just talking, must have been 2012, like after you moved to the Bay and started working
mhm.
for Jackson Hewitt because yeah, I was a single mom and I had been going there for years and it was always a different person, whoever was available. And then the first year that I had you, I'm like, oh, I like her. She knows what she's doing. She's quick, fast, and she's helping me, where
Yeah.
others, it was me more like doing the work, like what about these deductions or what about this other stuff? And with you,
Hmm.
it was like this, and it was great. And then, yeah, that's been what now, 13 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah,
And
it's been
and then
longer.
you created your own business, and I've been with you, and yeah, and I love it. I love how, and that's what I want to like emphasize here too, the networking. Like when you're doing a good job and you're passionate about it and you love what you're doing and you help others, they're gonna be telling their friends and family, and then and that's kind of what I want to emphasize too, like people like me and other women who are trying to create their business, and is the modern day word of mouth, and actually it is word of mouth type
Yeah.
of marketing,
Yeah.
rather than, especially if you're a small business, like you don't have the money to invest on marketing campaigns, and that's a very corporate level. And
Right.
right here, I'm a small business, you are a small business too, you are a solopreneur, we are
Hmm.
solopreneurs. So
Right.
all
Right.
the all the help that we can get from whether it be the creative side, the marketing side, the finance side, that is you. I really
Hmm.
appreciate that, and I want to like emphasize that. And yeah, and I love too also the story how your mom was like your cheerleader. Oh,
She's always my cheerleader. She's all, I mean, you as a mom, you know certain talents that your children have before they even know it themselves, right? And so I think that was like one of the things that, what I love about my mom is like she is like, you're good at it. You're good at researching. She's like the one I'm gonna tell you, and I'll tell your audience too, like, and I tell other people this too. The one thing that just kind of pushed me over into doing it is like the fact that you're not going to know everything. That's not the point. The point is, are you able to figure it out? And then, if you come up with a solution to somebody's problem, then that's a win. You know what I mean? So you don't like the assumption that gives people like the the freeze is like, oh, I've got to know everything before I start. And you'll never know all of it. And you're not supposed to know because like your business is like a journey that comes along with you, right? And so like as you're learning and growing, so is your business. And most of the time when you come across like an obstacle, it's like parenting, right? Like we don't have any manuals for parenting, but we figure it out. And that's the same thing for business. Like it's like literally the same thing. And then once you do it, you're like, why did it take me so long? Right? Like, why did it take me so long to figure out that I could do this? I've been doing this as a mom. I've been doing this as like a single person, like, on my own. Like it's anyway. But yeah, that's the one thing that like pushed me over. She was like, just figure it out. Say you don't know, figure it out. And I was like, okay. And that was literally like my go-to. If they ask me a question and I can't figure it out in like a matter of 2 to 5 minutes, tell them I don't know, and I'll get back to you. And I do that even to you, Teresa. I'm like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah.
yeah, that's great advice for everything all across, not just a specific type of business, but in
Mhm.
life, like you mentioned, as parenting and everything is like, but it's that entrepreneur spirit of wanting to be your own business, your own boss, your own doing things in your own terms. And I can also like, when I've been telling you about let's do this interview for a while now,
I know.
and I understand that fear is paralyzing because you're
Mhm.
like, what are people going to say, what are people going to think, or
Mhm.
and again, like, you're ready. I've been telling you, you're ready. Like, get out there in the world, in the cyber world, because you have your clients who are like word of mouth and stuff, but out there, bigger and bigger, communities. And so yeah, that's kind of why I like it, the networking part of somebody who's had a good experience with you and would love to have other people who are entrepreneurs like me getting started, or have that fear, paralyzing fear, like, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to proceed. The business part is kind of like overwhelming, and just to have somebody like you with guidance that is like, okay, baby steps, one step at a
Yeah,
time.
it's baby steps. Because when you see all these like things on TikTok and Instagram and like blogs, they that also feeds into the paralysis analysis where you're like, I don't have all these things, or like, I need to have this first. And no, 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 no. So I tell people, just start with your passion, right? Start with the network you already have. Everyone has a network. Moms have moms. You know what I'm saying? Moms, and I don't know, is your audience like like more moms or
It's all over the place.
okay, okay, because I don't want to like assume that it's just moms or whatever, but like I'm just this mom, I'm a mom, so that's my life. But if you aren't a mom, the key is moms run communities, right? So like, let's just say you think you don't have um, a network, reach out to a mom, reach out to a dad, and they have a wealth of, like, they have a village behind them, right? So just start there, and then take it one step at a time. Like, um, you don't have to have an LLC. You just do a sole proprietor. Just get one bank account, do a DBA, like I told you, and then just get started. And then as the company grows, you grow, right? There's it's really not that hard, you just have to make it simple for yourself. So like make it achievable, you know what I mean? So I don't know. But yeah, I just kind of feel like that's part of the smokes and mirrors, is like all these things that we see and we're like, man, I that's just, I can't reach it, and sometimes you just have to stop and be like, okay, what can I do today? What can I do this week? Website, I don't even have a website. I don't even have a website because all I get are referrals, and so I don't, like you said, I don't really need it. Just because you're passionate at what you do. That is what, like you said, is going to have your client or your customer tell other people. I actually watched this YouTube video where this lady was explaining like the evolution of a resume. And so she was saying, even in the corporate, they're like moving into this space of not just listing like the things that you've done, but your network. They want to know, they're putting more emphasis on your network than your own credibility. Like testimonials, like what are people saying about you? You know what I mean? Like what are your friends and family saying about you? You know, and they're putting, like, a lot of people are getting jobs off of that. So they're like redesigning the whole resume. And so you're right. It's like everyone has a network. If you just sit down and you think about it, friends and family is like your first go to. You know?
I love that. Yes, and your work speaks for itself. I love that how you bringing that up, because few years back in the business world, everything just got to AI. I
Mhm.
seriously, when I was having a hard time finding a job, I applied over 100 places and didn't hear crickets, because everything is run through a machine, AI,
Mhm.
and you have to have the tweak words that pick it up. And there's not a human behind it. And once I got to a place and that I keep going back to working is because they like the work that I do. They keep calling me back and I keep
They
going.
like you. They like you.
Yeah, exactly. And they like me, my work and how I do and how my work ethic and all of that. So that you can place that on a resume,
Mm-mm,
really, you
mm-mm,
know. But when somebody is that personal, but when they call for references, those people are able to do that. So I think we need to go back to that because we've gotten away so far from the human connection that is making very difficult. And I
mm-hmm.
appreciate that, the networking, like you mentioned, and like, every time, even on my business, when I have come to you and you're like, oh, I know somebody who has a property that you can do a
Yeah.
retreat. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yep.
like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you
Yeah.
never know. You
You
never
never
know
know.
until you speak of your dreams and goals. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that how now that you mentioned too that you don't have a website, I'm actually old school and I love that because that is also a testament to your success, that your work speaks for itself, the word of
Yeah.
mouth, that
Yeah.
you don't have to be this glam website marketing, and you are doing great. And
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people who have passions and want to do, maybe even if it's just a side business, but like, again, freezing over, because yeah, like what you see in social media, they're saying, oh, 3 steps to become successful, or blah blah
Yeah.
blah,
Mm.
and it's so easy, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I'm like, I'm like not that smart that I didn't get
Yeah.
that,
But
that.
but if you think about it too, before websites, what were people doing? Word of mouth. I mean, and when you're thinking of like of our whole existence and businesses, websites are fairly new, right? So what were people doing before? Word of mouth. I mean, uh, I don't know. I'm not saying that I won't get a website, but what I'm saying is I'm not gonna let that hold me from moving forward. You know what I mean? And another thing is my line of work, most, you know, accountants, they're just so busy, they don't even have time to create it. There are certain people like e-commerce, like obviously you're gonna need a website more, so just keep that in mind too. But like, for the average person, if you just, and it doesn't have to be fancy, it could be literally one page, or nothing, or you, okay. Another tip is I started with a Yelp page. Yelp still works. Yelp, like, if you just tell people, hey, can you like put a review? I did that when I first started. And then people would like come to the office because I had an office in Hayward, and people would say, yeah, I saw your Yelp and you had good reviews. And sometimes I like every now and then I'll get a call like that from, the Yelp page, like, yeah, I saw and I just kind of use that. I've been using that, I just, I think when you start simplifying things, right? And you just kind of, I don't know, simplify it, not overdo it. It helps you calm down more and it makes you feel like I can do this. I think people get caught up in the business part as if they can't do it. And you can. If I can do it, and I got 2 kids, I got a husband, more like 3 kids. I mean, anybody could do it. My mom did it so she would sell, she used to make stuff like hats and shirts on the weekends. She would sell it, so like for extra money. My dad owned a business, a private investigation business, and we used to travel up here. That's how I got familiar with the day. He didn't have a website. My mom didn't have a website. My grandfather, he was a tax accountant and he didn't have a website. He did a lot of his work out of his room, like he had an extra room, like an office. So, mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. Just, keeping things simple. When you have that passion and the drive to create or do business for your own, for yourself,
Mhm.
that's what you need. And then, like, build it, they will come type of thing. That's kind of one of my mottos. Build it, they will come. My
Mhm.
both of my parents too had their own businesses, and they worked hard, but it was simple, and they made things happen. So I see that, and I'm glad that there's kind of like coming back to that, just kind of to the smaller within your community, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of businesses have gone so like scale out to all the internet, oh everybody, but it's like, okay, well, bring it back to your community. That's kind
Mhm.
of where you can get started and kind of amplify it that way. So
You can make a lot of money just within your community. I mean, think of all the people in other countries that just this is what they do, right? Like they wake up and they sell like maybe produce or they sell stuff and they just and then they make money. They make the money and they go home. It's like every day, like you can I don't know, I just want people to understand like how easy it is and I really push, especially couples. I really push like couples that are trying to make it work and trying to save money on their taxes. One person should have the W-2, right? And then the other person should have like a business because that is how they get to like make all this money and write off all the most of the money and then but then there's two incomes in the house, right? And then one person they can help out the family with the 401k and with the health benefits. The other person, they're probably going to be more at home, so they're more flexible with their time, right? So if they got to pick up the kids or whatever they have to do, they're not tied behind the debt. I think like so for all of the clients that I have, those are the ones that are winning the most as far as like the tax advantage and where they are financially, So for the moms out there that are like, I don't have the time. There's a lot of new businesses that are emerging because of AI, right? That you can do from home and that could be a side business. You can make a, a substantial amount and feel like you're still contributing to the household and still be able to drop off and pick up your kids. Like this is a good time right now in our lives to like really take life by the horns, So
yeah, that's great. And yeah, there's a lot of shifts and changes. And yeah, I know you kind of already touched a little bit, but what's your why? Why do you feel so passionate about this now? As I seen you grow on your journey as well, going from working for somebody else to creating
mhm,
your business, getting married, having your two girls. I mean, I've seen you what you grow.
yeah, you
So
you
what's right now? And I know we're touching these, like, you already feel accomplished with your personal life, having your daughters and everything, but now you want to give back to the community. That's what you mentioned to me. So
yeah.
focus on your why.
Well, so my biggest passion, as you mentioned in the bio, is to empower people to break away from this assumption that they're not able to get on their own 2 feet, like there's something great about feeling like you're your own boss and I don't know, I don't it's hard I have all these emotions, but like it's hard to kind of put them into words, but I want the way the world is moving, right? We're moving in a world where our light is starting to look a little dim, so we're starting to lose hope. And I feel like having a business kind of ignites that in our life on an individual basis, but from an economical standpoint, I think it's powerful because America thrives on small businesses, whether they want to believe it or not. That's without small businesses, this whole nation will fall. And so, because we're moving into a space of people like kind of giving up and saying, oh, well, let me just work, it's like we're almost kind of giving in to that. And so that's why I just kind of want to shout to people like, no, like you don't have to. Like having a job, don't get me wrong, is a financial vehicle that let's not kid ourselves, right? It does pay the bills every 30 days, but there's more. There's more. Like you can tell yourself, hey, I'll be here for a little bit, but I've always wanted to like sell purses. I don't know. Some people are passionate about that. I don't know. But there's a space for that. Like there's a lot of space to do a lot of things here. And my my why is to let people know like it's possible without it's possible through baby steps, you know? And especially another why of mine is I've been told that a lot of people that look like me, they don't see people like me in this space of like taxes and finance. And so I'm an advocate in that space of like, I'm I'm nobody like really special. Like you can do it too. Like I have someone right, a friend right now, she's a CPA and she's worked in the big four companies. And I don't know if you know a lot about CPAs and big four, but like after you're done with your CPA, that's kind of like where you go because you learn a lot there. You get all of your knowledge there. So this lady has way more experience than I do as far as accounting, taxes, or whatever. And so she comes to me and she's like, wow, you have your own business? And I'm like, girl, you work for the big four. I've never worked for the big four. Like, you're dealing with high rollers here, okay? Like, big corporations. And she's like, yeah, but I don't have the confidence. And I'm pushing her, right? And she's a black woman too. And I'm like, we need more minorities in this space. We need more people that look like us to spread this awareness, right? So now she's like getting like the confidence to like say, okay, I've got a business. And she's like, I got a website. I'm like, good. And then I was like, what are you gonna focus on next? Like she's like, getting my first client. And so she called me and she's like, I got my first client, but I don't know what to do. And I was like, so I just kind of coached her like, that's okay. That's okay. They trust you, they trust you. And I said, and I know you're gonna deliver. I know you're going to deliver. And he knows it too. So just kind of like having these personal conversations, just really just is contagious because sometimes she'll tell me like I'm telling my other friend who's a CPA, and I'm like it's we got to do this. My philosophy is each one teach one. It's an old philosophy, but I stand true to it because you know it's tried and true. Like we've been doing it since the Renaissance. Like why not keep it going? So I don't know if that answers the why, but like I just and oh, another reason is when there are more small businesses, those small business owners are more likely to hire, right? And those people are less likely to get a corporation job, you know? They're not gonna have to really be in the rat race, you know what I mean? And so it kind of um, helps with that too. you know?
Yeah, and it helps the local economy instead of spending your monies to these big corporations that
Mm,
are controlling a lot of the economy. You're spending it on your local business, on your local CPA, and just
mhm.
kind of that's how the economy, like you mentioned, goes around. And I love that one. Yeah, I love your why. Yes, that's why I wanted to touch base on that because we've spoken about that so many times. And but like you have been pushing on this friend of yours, the CPA, I have also pushed on you. Let's do this. Let's do
Mhm,
this.
yeah, yes. You've
And,
inspired me.
and I love that, and that's why I want to be, like this network, this village of like offering our mentorship, our support freely, offering it freely. It's not the business that I'm like, I'm happy to see somebody else who has that spark in them, to see
Mhm,
them succeed, to be uh putting the creative endeavors out there, like, and that's what I saw in you. You were passionate about what you did. You were not like, I hate doing taxes. Here's another client. Da, 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 da.
nah,
No, you can
you
sense
can't,
that energy when you go
yeah,
to
you can't hate
places.
doing taxes. Either you love it or get out. You cannot hate taxes.
I'm the one who hated doing taxes. I'm like, oh, you do it, America. You do it for me. I'll pay you,
Yeah.
gladly. But that spirit of like you're in a good you find yourself in a good happy place with your work, and a lot
Hmm.
of us need more of that. It's become very, even the memes everywhere where you see and people hating their jobs.
Yeah.
And why? Because, like you said, people have lost hope and such.
Mhm.
So I also, when I see somebody that mentions a little something that they give me a little bit of their light, I'm like, oh, go ahead, do this.
Mhm.
And, I'm like, and yeah, I was in that position. Like, I'm petrified. I don't know what to do. I don't know, how to
Yeah.
do it. But here I am putting information out here on my YouTube channel and
Yeah.
reaching out to people. If somebody,
You
you know,
have you have pushed me though. Like I'm like, if Teresa's doing it, come on. Like she's giving me the gas. Like I need to, you know, not on a like competition thing. It's more of like an inspiration. Like, man, I know her story. Like I also have a story too, and she's been pushing me like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, why not? Because there's a lot of women that they just feel like they can't. And that is a really, that's like a whole topic within itself, right? Like, why do some women feel like they can't fill in the blank? Like, we are the backbones, okay? Like, it, and we know that too. Like, we know that we're the backbone of this world, okay? Why in the world do we feel like we're not capable of anything? You know, like our ancestors did it and they went through the fire, okay? And it's like, if they can do that, come on, like they did it so that we can. You have to remember that they did it so we can. Like the reason why I'm here is because somebody did this over and over before I did. And now you have to pay it forward. Now you have to, like, that's your purpose, right? Like even if let's just say you don't have a specific purpose, like your why could also just be like paying it forward for the from the people that came before, man or woman. It doesn't matter. Like people walk on the same grass. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah. And I love that, like that just kind of like gave me chills right now when you say your purpose is being of service to others. The
mhm,
purpose is not about making money to blah 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 to obtain these material things. Your purpose is that the good feeling of like I'm inspiring somebody else so they can do also to so they can see the light within themselves and they can
yeah.
also create something and bring it out to the world if that's what they want to do.
Mhm. And another thing is like a good place to like ignite that, especially when you're working, is like because I know sometimes when people are working, they're all they know is they're sitting in front of their laptop, sitting in front of their desk. but they don't know that big why, right? And it's just like, um, start there. Like, start with being grateful for having a job. You get what I'm saying? There's so many people that don't have jobs. There's so many people that probably wanted that job that you got hired for, right? And then it's like, you once you start there of like feeling a sense of gratitude, you know how it works. It starts growing. You start thinking of other things that you're grateful for, even within the workspace, right? And then that will kind of give you sometimes that inspiration in your personal life, like, oh, I want to start writing about it. Like, let's say if you're a writer, I want to start writing about that, about like how I went from feeling like crap at work to like feeling inspired through just saying how grateful I am. Like, that's a book within itself. Like, teaching teaching others how to get through that process. You know what I mean? So like I even tell that to my husband all the time because like he works for a really big company. And so he's always like, I always feel like I'm just punch, 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 punch. But I'm like, just because you're working for a large company to help larger companies, there's still a why in that. We still need big companies. The little people need to work with the big people. And that still serves a purpose. And you're part of that, you know? And so I have to like kind of help him too, come out of it. And I'm like, and so he started a YouTube channel. He started one. And so that's his like why. And that helps him work throughout the day because he's like more encouraged, like, okay, I want to hurry up and do my work so that I can do what I want to do, what I love to do on the side.
Yeah, and that's his creative expression. That's what we do
Yeah.
in here. You put in your what you're passionate about, and and that's what I like this conversation today because it brings like both sides of the brain, right? The right creative side of how many people want to do whatever form of
Mhm.
art they have the business, but then also the left side of the brain, the analytical, like okay, how do I go about setting up a business, what are the steps, and that sometimes somebody who's very right brain on the creative, that's kind of scary, like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
So every position that you're in, like you can always be grateful for. And like my dad, he and this always sticks with me, okay? When I have to pay a bill, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like paying a bill, right? And then one day he was like, Erica, imagine if you didn't have the money and you still had to pay that bill. He's like, yeah, be grateful that you have a job so that you can pay that bill. And I'm like, yes, you're right. Dang. So like, and people like beat themselves up because they have a job because they want to fulfill a personal journey. And I'm like, just just start off with being very grateful that you have a job. Like just there's so many people that want that job that you have. There's so many people that are looking for you. The job market right now, I heard stinks right now. So if you have a job, be grateful and hold on, you know. But it's a financial vehicle. Like it will take you to your real purpose, and that's okay to think, you know, like that's part of your baby step, right?
Yeah. As part of many, maybe a lot of women who are watching this are part of the audience, or like my experience being a single mom. You have to have the job to pay the
Mm-hmm.
bills, to have the medical, but then also that's why I venture out. Like, okay, well, this is. I think you get to a point to like, okay, my kid is great, is doing great. I've given, I was able to do so much, and now as they grow and they become independent, it's like, okay, now let's shift it back to me, my purpose,
Yeah.
what I want to
Mhm.
bring to the world. And that's when I kind of started, okay, this is the business that I want to do. my spiritual aspect that I bring to others. And that's another, you know, stream, multiple streams of income that having that you create that. And, and just because you never know, you can't just rely on, as a single person, you cannot just rely on this
Mhm.
job that I've been laid off twice. So it's, you never know.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I tell couples too, to set it up that way, because like, they lay people off like it's nothing, and so
Especially
what
the big companies. That's what happened.
yeah,
So
I know. And that's why the other person who has more flexibility, they got your back, like they have your back. And that's the way to go now. It's really hard to navigate this world with just, like you said, one income, you know. So I think that's one tax strategy that I do have for anyone that's listening, that's like on the fence, if they stay at home and they're on the fence about, should I do it? Do I have time? The answer is yes. You can always find something to do, because the other person who's working, you never know, what will happen, and you can support them. Like you can pick it up where they have a little gap. You know what I mean? That's what I tell my husband. He's always like, right. He's like, last week he's like, they're gonna fire me. I'm telling you, they're gonna fire me. And I'm like, if they do, I got you. Like, not only can I drop off the Aaliyah, my daughter, but if you need something, I got you. Like, you don't have to wear that burden, you know. And that's just kind of like the benefit there too.
and another aspect, what I like about this conversation, like being entrepreneurs, that's what I'm instilling in my son too, Um, Not everybody does the same path of going to college and getting a career. He's got a job, he's great, but he also has these passions. And one
Mm-hmm.
of them is cars and photography. I'm like, okay, create a business that where you can take pictures. I mean, you've already been a customer of somebody who's doing that. Why can't you do that yourself as well and get some sponsors of all these car parts that you're always buying? And he's
Mm-hmm.
had some opportunity. And I'm like, see, and the reason why I explained to him, as he's growing older and making more money, he's getting less of a refund. I'm like, see, compared to last year, now you're getting less. So if you
Yeah.
create a business and you have those tax breaks, Erica says,
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm laughing. Like, yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's like, and that's helping to build that generational wealth or just kind of independence and like working for something that you are really passionate about and that is doesn't even seem like a job because like him, you're having fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
and why not create a structure of a business where you can have those tax breaks that will help you rather than a lot of your money just being going to
Mm-hmm.
taxes.
Mm-hmm. One thing I will say though is like when again, like the tax breaks are good, everything, and then when you finally say like it's a mindset shift, right? It's a mindset shift. And I wanted to kind of touch on the mindset shift a little bit, because another, I feel like, barrier is people thinking, again, they have to have everything right and perfect. And one thing I want to say is just expect to kind of have a lot of lessons. I don't want to say failures, right? Because like things will happen, but that's great. That's a good problem, Like it's almost like think of it as like a season, where like um oh, it says lower hand. Okay. The trees have to fall in order for the next one to grow. You know what I mean? And then when you finally kind of like accept that as like part of the season, it makes it better. Like it makes it feel like I can get through. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, it's
I,
part of the journey. Like you said, it's like we don't know everything. We don't know how it's gonna go. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
different factors that are coming into it, and but just to get started. So just get started. So as we wrap up here, what do you want to leave the audience with? The big message that you want to leave them with, or inspiration?
Oh, the biggest one is just start off with shifting your mindset. Your mindset is, think of it as your business will be a part of you. Um, and as you grow, your business will grow, you know. So if you look at it that way, you're like, I don't mind growing. You know what I mean? I don't mind growing. So I don't mind my business to grow. But like from a business standpoint, um, I would say use AI, use ChatGPT, and be honest and authentic with it and say, like, look, here are all my concerns, but this is what I want to do. What's the first step? You know what I mean? And just start there, and then just build off of that. You do not have to have a corporation, an S corp, an LLC to start. You don't even have to have a DBA. You don't. You really don't. You just have to start. Start with your network and say, hey, you're probably already known for a passion already, right? Your friends and family probably know what it is that you love to do. Just talk more about that. And people are like, hey, are you willing to do that? And you're like, sure. And then you run home and you go to ChatGPT and say, you type in, oh crap, I think I got my first client. What do I do? And then you just start from there. That's part of the growth.
Yeah, thank you. Or connect with people too, as well. People that
Mm-hmm.
you admire, that somebody that might have a business, might not be in the same line that you have your intention of creating a business, but a business owner, another entrepreneur. Ask them the journey, what kind of pointers they can give you, or experiences. Or like me, asking my tax lady, like, okay, I'm thinking of doing this. How do I go
Mm-hmm.
about it? And just kind of like something that somebody told me is like, just surround yourself with those people who are doing where you want to go. You know,
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to create a business, is surround yourself with those people who already are business owners and are doing well.
Yeah, you know what? I also do that too. So around here, there's a lot of small businesses. And if I'm just curious, if I'm genuinely like curious and I want to know that person, a good buffer to like get to know them is talk about their business and how they get started. And let me tell you, if you ask a business owner about their business, they have an endless supply of it. Like that's all they're going to talk about. And so through those conversations, you do get to learn. Like you actually in your mind, you're like, okay, well, they didn't use that, so I don't really need it. Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern in all of these business owners. Maybe this is important. And then you can start maybe talking about your business. And then that kind of builds their confidence even before you even have the client. You know what I mean? And saying like, yeah, I got a business. Yeah. You don't even have to have a business card. You just don't. Oh, one fun fact about 70% of small business owners like that you see are sole proprietors.
Yes, yes,
And,
yes.
and people think like, oh, they have this. Nope. Nope. I'll give you an example. There is one grocery outlet. I don't know if you're familiar with grocery outlet, but I speak to the owner all the time. And he's running a grocery outlet, sole proprietor. And it's so many other people like that. So I hopefully that gives everybody motivation. You know what I mean? And he
Yes.
brings in about maybe like $1 million in revenue.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so this is why this interview is here to inspire, the business of doing business, I know a lot of people probably have that in the back of their mind, whatever creative arts, painting, whatever it is, and then you want to share with the world in a way of creating a business. The world is your oyster, and just kind of putting yourself out there is one of the first steps, and like creating, having that network of your supporters, of like you mentioned, to me it's like doing research. You asking other
Yeah.
business owners, it's just do your research, and then some people will share everything, and but you will resonate, okay, that's maybe something I should do, or that sounds like something I should be doing for my business.
Hmm.
But you always get that human story behind it, and everybody
Yeah.
has a wonderful story to share about the journey of growth, and especially like like our relationship. I've seen you grown, and you've seen me start and get going
Yeah.
as
You're
well.
doing well. You're doing well.
So yeah, and that kind of like support is what we need, because there's a lot of negativity out there.
Yeah. Yes. But
Yes,
we just ignore those people. 'Cause,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, just focus on what you're here to create, your purpose, your why, and just keep growing. So I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Erica. It's always so good
You're welcome.
to
Thanks for
have a
having me.
conversation. Yeah, and
Mhm.
it was like I always say, it's always soul food, because we may touch a little bit on business, but it's the bigger aspect of our conversation, that support, that mentorship, that womanhood, sisterhood that we have.
Yeah. That is valuable.
Yes,
We're the
yes.
backbones. We're the backbones.
Yes, and
Yeah.
like I love it. Like, we may talk like 3 to 4 times a year, but when we do, it's
I
son of a
know. I
bitch.
know. I know. I literally have to tell myself like, okay, okay, she's probably busy. I can't hold her for 2 hours.
But yes, we can. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have it. We make it. We make it
Hmm.
when it's worth it. When you know it's worth it, you make it happen. Same
Hmm.
with your business.
And I want to say thanks for like inspiring me and pushing me to do this because now I'm thinking of an idea of like taking what we just did and just kind of just having maybe recording something about like the mindset, just the mindset of like how you can transform your thoughts, your ideas into action items, right? Because that is where you start breaking down the wall, right? So,
Yes, I know you're gonna do it. Those inspirational little talks, like you said, your husband is doing. Now it's your turn to put yourself out there, and
mhm,
have those little, even, it's like talking to yourself, and I'm sure somebody will find you, and you'll be helping them. You may know, not
mhm,
know, and that doesn't matter, but you're putting your intentions and your purpose out there to be of service to others.
yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Erica, and thank you everybody for being here with us. Hope you enjoyed this conversation, and we'll talk to you in the next time. Bye.
Bye.